Hello, everyone. I'm Annie Petrillo. I am the primetime host for the Paris Olympics here at CBC. Can you believe we are just over a month away from the start of the games? And we here at CBC want to make sure that you are just as ready as the athletes are for Paris. And the theme of today's show is new and new-ish. What sports are making their debut at Paris and which sports actually made their debut in Tokyo but are becoming solidified as Olympic sports in Paris. And to help me go through these new sports, the host of CBC Olympic Morning, Anastasia Buses. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andy. I've missed your face. It's always so. We were just talking. I'm like, can we do karaoke at the Olympics? Like,
why not?
All I have is fun with you.
That should be a new sport. Why not? But here's the thing. I don't think that's going to happen. But in the vein of music and dancing, so a true new sport, something we did not see at Tokyo at all, we're seeing for the very first time in Paris, is breaking. Take us through that. A little break dancing?
Breaking. Yeah, affectionately known as break dancing. And I love it. Honestly, like growing up, I don't know if I could ever imagine breaking being in the Olympics, but I sat with it and I'm like, that's why I love figure skating, artistry and athleticism. That's some of what I love most about gymnastics is that artistry. That's actually why I started speed skating. I wanted to be a figure skater. So I'm super excited to see just this, of course, make its debut and see who really gravitates toward the sport. And what better backdrop than to do it in Paris, one of the most cultured cities in the world. It's a pillar of hip hop. And I just think it's going to be like a really, really fresh take for the games.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to learn about it as well for the first time. And the way it's done at the Olympics, they don't know the music they're going to be dancing to. They can't do the same move twice. But here's the thing. Canada does have a star in Phil Wizard. Well, Phil Kim, a.k.a. Phil Wizard.
And he's known for his originality. Like he does moves that are incredible and incredibly hard to replicate. So yeah, Canada's like got a real shot at some hardware.
Yeah, world champ. See what the Canadian can do. Here's another sport. So this is something that did make its debut in Tokyo, and this is sport climbing. But the way they did it before, where there was 3 disciplines, and you had to compete in all 3, combined score. That's how they crowned a champion. But now they're going to be handing out 2 golds.
Yeah, so lead combined and bouldering is one, and then speed, which actually the athletes and the sport climbing community are really happy about this change, just because training for all 3, it was too hard. And it's so, there's such different skill sets that it's going to be really, really interesting, and it's going to be cool to see people really kind of specialize into either lead bouldering or speed. And you know, I love it. I mean, I've been on one of those rock climbing thing. It's not like I'm like, this is like Spider-Man. It's so cool.
Yeah, nerve-wracking. But you're right, because I always found that, I mean, speed is thrilling.
Yeah.
In any sport. Whenever you cross the finish line first, whenever you hit the buzzer first, whenever you whatever first, that is what's exhilarating. And I found that got lost in sport climbing when speed was combined with bouldering and lead. So I like that they separated that too, because now the speed, when you see them, to your point, like Spider-Man going, that's legit. Now whoever gets there first, they are the winner, and that's it.
100%. And the sport is super happy for the change. So I just think it's going to make the performances do this.
I love it. Surfing, again, debuted in Tokyo. It's going to return, but it will be competed in Tahiti. I Googled that. That is a 21-hour flight away from Paris proper. I have some thoughts on this because while I'm happy for surfers, and I'm happy for this sport to get the recognition on the Olympic stage, because I think there are a lot of fans of surfing, I just do have issue that it's a sport that clearly needs an ocean with waves, which means you can really be separated from the Olympic experience.
Yeah, and my heart goes out to those athletes a little bit. I mean, it's still the games. It's still the pinnacle, right? But there's so much of that Olympic experience that I just hope doesn't get lost being that far away. I mean, I think of the Athletes Village. Like, those are some of the greatest memories that you have, is sitting down at lunch and going, oh my gosh, there's Serena Williams. Like that, I mean, they're not going to get that, obviously, in Tahiti. But it is cool. I mean, Canada has qualified its first surfer in Snoa Dempfel-Olin, and I'm really excited to show, or for Canadians to realize, that Canada is a surfing nation. Even though our water's a little cold, we are a surfing nation.
Yeah, exactly. But I do, again, going back to that Olympic experience, you're right. Because you're a speed skater.
Yeah.
When you're in just the dining hall,
No,
like there
it's
are
amazing.
hockey players there and bobsleigh and luge and all these other sports to your point where it's not just in your sport. There is that different experience. You're like, oh my goodness, look at so-and-so over there. And you watch them. Then there's also like the legit Olympic flame. Once it gets lit, it's there and you're looking at it and the emotions that can conjure. I do feel that they're a little separated. Having said that, I know that in the world of sport, it looks like we're moving the way of maybe multiple cities, multiple countries hosting big global sporting events because we know that it's heavy on one nation to do so. But I still think with this one all kind of being in Paris or at least within the vicinity, Tahiti's a long ways away, Anastasia.
Long way. And yeah, again, I'll put the athlete hat on. Like the greatest feeling is when you're done competing and you can go then cheer on your teammates, right? I mean, I think of going to the gold medal game in Sochi 2014 and Scott and Tessa and Patrick Chan are right next to us and everyone's cheering on the girls. So I do feel badly that they are a little separate. But again, Los Angeles 2028, I think there's conversations around having a man-made wave. So perhaps we'll see a little bit more of a unified.
Okay. That could be very interesting. Let's get to the final one. This is skateboarding. It too debuted in Tokyo. Paris decided to keep it. And you have the two disciplines there, park and street.
I love skateboarding. I'll tell you this.
You tried it, did you not?
I literally was like, I was a skater boy when I was a kid.
Oh,
like
were
I was listening to Avril Lavigne. And I had the privilege of actually calling this. I was play-by-play alongside Craig McMorris. And I mean, Craig McMorris, I can't say enough about him. He's so lovely and so warm. But it was just so cool to be into that action and to see, especially on the park side, and the women's side, it's a young person's game. I mean, Sky Brown was 13 when she won the bronze. She is a heavy favorite going into Paris. She's 15 now. Unfortunately, struggling a little bit with a knee injury. But Faye DeFazio-Eber, also 14 years old from Toronto. Like, it's so cool just to see the gender gap kind of decrease in this sport. And I mean, the Canadian men are going to be really good on the street side too.
Yeah, Faye all day. That's what they say. Faye
all
skate
day.
all day. Pan Am champ, 14 years of age. And you're right. I mean, and this is part of the Olympics, and they have fully said it. We want to attract that younger crowd. We want to get the younger audience. This is what they're doing. We know that they have the two initiatives, which of course is gender equality, which is why we do see more mixed events getting added to the Olympics, but also these types of events, these sports, which not only are the athletes young competing in them, that doesn't always have to be the case, it just attracts a younger audience.
Yeah, skateboarding's cool. Yeah. Come on.
What was that? Was that your form?
Yeah. No, I seriously, I can ollie. I'm like, yes. I am. I love skateboarding.
Awesome.
Also, but just shout out, like 3x3 basketball. I think that gets a little bit lost because Canada didn't qualify the teams. There's no men's team, no women's team in Tokyo. And the women's team has qualified. They're super tight for it. I mean, 3x3 is basically the last quarter of traditional basketball. It's so exciting, so fast paced, it's very physical, and Canada's pretty good at it. So, I mean, watch out, especially for the Plouffe twins, Michelle and Catherine. They got that twin power. Like, it's really, it's amazing to see them play. I think Canadians are going to fall in love with 3x3.
I love it. And yes, it is. So it's breaking. Just get the lingo right. So it's breaking, not break dancing, breaking, and 3x3. Because we're so used to saying 3-on-3. Yeah. 3x3. So we're not making things up. This is the vernacular when talking about these sports at the Olympics. So a total of 32 sports in Paris, and the new sports, yes, very much youth center. All right, every Wednesday as well, we do have another segment called Paris Pulse. Like I said, we really want to make sure that you are ready for the Olympics before they officially begin. Weekly updates as well on all things Paris. You can find it on CBC's Instagram page and TikTok as well. Here's a look at this week's episode.
The Olympic rings have just been unveiled on the Eiffel Tower. Welcome to Paris Pulse, your weekly dose of Canadian Olympic and Paralympic updates as we gear up for this summer's games in the City of Light. At the Canadian Artistic Gymnastics Championships, Canada showcased their talent. On the men's side, Felix Dolce shined, snagging his first senior all-around title. Not to be outdone, Ellie Black spun, leapt, and twirled her way to her eighth senior women's all-around title. Talk about sticking the landing. Over in Ottawa, the Canadian men's volleyball team spiked their way through the Volleyball Nations League. It was a perfect warm-up for the Olympics. The team won 2 out of 4 games, including their first win against the USA since 2019. Now the men are sitting pretty at 7th in the VNL standings. And with less than 50 days to go until the Olympics, Canadian hooper Kayla Alexander is pumped and ready to compete in Paris.
For this Olympics, what I'm most excited about is just getting on that court with my teammates and just playing the game that I love. We've sacrificed together, we've dedicated so much time. So I just want to go out there and just play hard, play together, have fun with them, and just leave it all on the court.
Over in the host city, the Olympic rings have just been unveiled on the Eiffel Tower. These colossal rings measure 29 by 13 meters. Fun fact, pieces of steel from the Eiffel Tower are also being used in the Paris 2024 medals. Talk about adding some serious weight to those victories. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have more updates next week.
That was Paris Pulse. That was the voice of Brittany McLean, Olympic bronze medalist in swimming, who is doing great stuff with us here at CBC Sports as well. So those are weekly updates. Again, CBC, look for them, Instagram and TikTok. And of course, the fact that you're right here means you want to be ready for the Paris Olympics, and we're doing our best to do that. We just brought you through the 4 new sports that are going to be in Paris. What about some stars to keep an eye on? How about on the international front, Anastasia?
Okay. When you ask me that, I immediately go to Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone.
Okay.
400-meter hurdle specialist. First and foremost, you could not pay me to do that because I think that is perhaps one of the hardest things in sport to do.
My hips don't do it.
No. Like I just genuinely, she blows my hair back every time she runs. And last year it was kind of fascinating. Of course, she's Olympic champion in the hurdles for 400 meters. She really focused on the 400 meter flat, did amazing things there. Unfortunately, didn't run at World Championships in Budapest, but she is back because it was a little bit of a knee issue.
Yeah.
She's back and she is on fire. She has said, I'm committing to the 400 meter hurdles, but in that kind of tapering and peaking and getting sharp for the games, she's been running 200 meters. And I mean, let me tell you, she just ran 20:07, did a massive PB, beat Gabby Thomas of the United States, who was a medalist in Tokyo. Like, what can this woman not do? I mean, she just continuously raises the bar, and I think she's one of the greatest of all time. I'm throwing it out.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to see what she can do when she doesn't have hurdles in her way either.
I
when she's
know.
talking about running it flat. I'm going to stay on the track because my international star, also from the United States, has to be Noah Lyles. Being in Budapest and seeing him win 3 gold, which, by the way, he became the first man since Usain Bolt 2015 to get the triple 100, 200, 4x1. But here's what is intriguing me about what he could do in Paris. He was recently on Jimmy Fallon, and this is what he said his goal is for Paris 2024.
You don't want to just win gold medals.
Oh no, 1 is too little.
You said that you're looking to come home with 4.
4.
But that's never been done.
That's why I want to do it so badly.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. But what competitions are they? What are they? 100?
So we have the 100 meters.
Okay.
And we have the 200 meters.
Yep.
Then we have the relays, the 4x1, and then the one I'm trying to add to the list is the 4x4. So everybody knows Bolt. You guys know Bolt, right?
Yeah, Usain Bolt.
Everybody knows Usain Bolt. Great guy.
I love him.
Fastest. Yeah, I want to be faster than that.
Yeah.
But it's not just, good enough to be faster than that. You also have the medals to go with it. Okay, well, he's won 3 already, and he has the world records when he did it. Okay, what do you got to do to be better than that? You got to get 4.
Okay.
Nobody's done 4.
Okay.
Now you're going on the Mount Rushmore. Now you're the greatest of the great.
Wow.
That's where I'm trying to attain.
Noah, that's what I'm talking about, bud. That's what I'm talking about. I love this.
Who is this guy? 4 gold medals? What are you talking about? First of all, where do you have the energy to do that? Doing the triple is hard enough because, by the way, there are heats.
Yeah.
It's not like, just line up for the 2 or line up for the 1. You got to go through heats. You got to earn your spot in the final. There's a lot of running going on, Anastasia.
There is. And have you run 100 meters?
I have. Well, like in, high school.
Well, okay, me too. But like it is longer than people think. I like everyone laughs when I say that, but it is physiologically very difficult. Your mental capacity as well. I mean, Noah Lyles is a gift, though, to athletics. I think the biggest question in this post-Usain Bolt era, Usain Bolt, the greatest of all time, one of the greatest ever athlete, hard stop. and we have an American star that's going to take his place. I mean, that's a real gift to the sport, and he puts his money where his mouth is. Like, he backs it up, and yeah,
He did.
He's pretty confident, but he also has like a real charm. I know you've interviewed him in the mixed zone.
I have, and I think that's the other thing. So he's an exceptional athlete, which we all love, and then he is a really nice person. And I was in Budapest. I had a chance to interview him. There he is walking around with his medal. And so when you set up in a mix zone, I call them pens. They put us in like little pens. I was number 26.
Yeah.
Like we were far down the line. He talked to everybody. Anastasia, he came through and he talked to everybody. That was exhausting. He might have been in that mix zone for over an hour before he then had to go and do like the actual press conference. But he was witty. He still gave great answers. And here's the thing: the 200 is his race, which is why Tokyo was a bit disappointing for him. Well, Andre DeGrasse won, but he took the bronze because he was going into those Olympics as the reigning world champion. So he would consider Tokyo a disappointment. But he's a 200 guy. So at those worlds, when he ran the 100, everyone went, get out of here. And he took the gold.
Yeah.
So that's why when he says, I'm going to come home with 4, there's a part of me that's like, okay, like, I believe you.
I do too. And you know what? I will give him a shout out. He just was beat actually at a Diamond League by Letziel Tobogo, and he was so gracious in that. He said he's the number 1 guy right now, but he also knows the responsibility on his shoulders, and that's why I appreciate an athlete like that. Like, he knows that he's elevating the sport. Sport needs stars, and look no further than Noah Lyles.
I love it when, they're excellent and they have really great personalities. How about Canadian stars?
I mean, Summer McIntosh. And she's young, you know?
Yes.
So I never want to have her feel like the media's putting pressure on her because she has nothing to prove. I mean, aside from what she puts on her own shoulders. But talking about Brittany McLean, I was just at her wedding. She swam in Georgia, and I got to meet a bunch of her Georgia Bulldog teammates, Americans, and I said, well, tell me about Summer from your perspective. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? This is the next Michael Phelps. They're like, this is not a Canadian superstar. This is a phenom that is going to change the face of swimming. So Summer McIntosh, I could talk about her all day. I think she's going to win a lot of hardware, and it's just so exciting. She's also a very humble athlete.
Yeah, I know. Really, really good. If I'm going to go with somebody, now I know maybe you're like, are you jumping the gun here? No, because this is how confident I am. I know that the Canadian track and field nationals are going to be in another week from now. But this is how confident I am that Christopher Morales-Williams is going to Paris in the 400 meter. And let me tell you why. And I think this is somebody to watch, 19 years of age. And I don't just like him because he's from the Vaughan area. I'm from Vaughan. Shout out Vaughan. University of Georgia is where he runs. He set a Canadian record in the 400 meter, 44.05, breaking a record that was set in 2005. Tyler Christopher's record of 44.44. So that is a Canadian record that stood for a long time. He broke it. He won the NCAA title both indoor and outdoor. And that 44.05 is the world leading time right now. If he was in Tokyo and he ran that, he would have taken the silver.
That's wild. And 19, right?
He's 19.
And so consistent. Like, I think a lot of athletes at that age can have amazing performances, but the fact that he has just consistently been so dominant, I mean, I think you're spot on.
Canadian trials, Montreal, June 26th to the 30th. And I know we stayed on the track a lot. We could keep just going on and on because I do think Budapest was a precursor, the 2023 World Championships, to what the Canadians can do at the Olympics between winning gold, Cameron Rogers and Ethan Katzberg, in hammer throw, Sarah Mitten, what she's doing in shot put, and then, of course, Pierce Lepage and Damian Warner still looking good in decathlon. Marco Rope, world champion, 800. Should I keep going?
No, it's the golden age.
Yeah.
Like, it is the golden age of swimming. It's the golden age of track and field in this country, and we get a front row ticket to see these athletes perform and know their stories. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait, and I'm so happy that you continue to tune into this show because that means you want to be ready for Paris, and that's what we're doing here. By the way, 43 days away from the opening ceremony, but really like 42 days away because July 25th, we're going to be on the air. Why? Because the Canadian women's soccer team begin their campaign to defend their gold medal. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Paris in the summer, where hearts turn to gold. It's gonna be a wild ride. Everyone's invited from the city of light, the city of love.
Katzberg lets it fly. Gold for Maggie McNeil.
and CBC and Gem have you covered. Coast to coast to coast, to the hot Paris sun. The world comes alive in a global act of unity.
Julia Grosso to win it for Canada! Canada gold! Nobody will catch him today.
Cameron Rogers, the world champion.
It all begins July 26th.
This is a performance for the history books.
Find the light and you'll feel the love. Be the love and you'll see the light.
Here comes DeGrasse, accelerating, goals for Canada. It is Summer McIntosh.
Summer's gonna be popping. Let's go!